I get it. Holiday travel season is here and you're anxious. You have toddlers, you don't know how you're gonna fly with them, you wanna go visit family across the country, and you're just like, help, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe it's your first flight, maybe you've flown with toddlers before, but it is stressful every time you do it. So I'm here to make it a little less stressful with the top 6 tips that I have learned from traveling really quite a few times with my kids over the last year and a half. And if you stick around for tip number 6, I promise you're really gonna want to. It is probably the biggest game changer that has ever happened in our traveling experiences with children, so stay tuned for that one. Hello, Danielle Hollembaek here. If you're new to my channel, well, why don't you subscribe, press the like button, and join this family of, I guess, work from home mom content, pregnancy content, all of the above. But today I'm talking about a topic that I think I am pretty well versed in ever since having my 2 kids. One's 1 and one's 2 years old. I have been doing a lot of travel. My husband's whole family lives across the country from us, so we travel all the time to go visit them. And I have to say, when we first started traveling with toddlers, I was very anxious, very nervous, and honestly, it's only gotten worse because as they get older, they actually can move and run around and cause trouble on a plane. So we're actually leaving on a flight tomorrow. It'll be with our 2 toddlers, our 1.5-year-old and our almost 3-year-old. So we are preparing ourselves. I got to do a lot of packing. I got to come up with all the toys for them. And I'm just a little stressed, but we're going to make it through. We're going to make it through this. So I have developed some tips that I think are very helpful in really anyone who's traveling with young kids. These are good tips. So since I do travel a lot of people on my Instagram page, if you don't follow me on Instagram, check it out. Here it is. I have got a lot of questions about how do you travel with toddlers, because it is something that gives people anxiety, and it's something where it's unpredictable. I mean, toddlers are unpredictable, obviously, and then you add the whole change of schedule and being on a flight, being contained and cramped. It can be a lot. So here are my tips that really will make your life easier when flying with a child, whether it be 1 toddler, 2 toddlers, or 5 toddlers. I think it's applicable across all those scenarios. Tip number 1, maybe this is simple, but I didn't follow it the first time I got on a flight with my baby. So the first time I ever flew with James, our oldest, I tried to plan as much as possible, but I did not plan enough. So that's tip number 1. Make sure you have thoroughly planned for basically anything that could happen. So if there's a delayed flight, if your rental car somehow isn't booked and you have to wait in line a lot longer to go get a booked car, if your luggage goes missing, kind of plan how that looks from every angle, because not only are you dealing with your own personal adult issues and like travel issues, you also are dealing with a baby or a toddler. And that's something where, that just adds another unexpected element that you don't want to have to worry about. So planning for everything that could happen on travel day is crucial. I was lucky. I work for a travel company called Minute Suite, so we actually got to go to these little suites in airports, and we, on our long layover, got to stay in that. So we were there for like 4 hours. So James got to take a nap, we got to relax, and he was contained to run around in this little, room about as big as my office here, and just run back and forth, watch TV, and eat something. Oh, that was also during COVID, so we get to actually eat something in the room. So it was great. It was awesome. So definitely plan ahead and even look at what airports have, because sometimes they have play areas for kids, or even like dog relief areas, which aren't like the best thing ever, but you could have your kid run around in that because it's a contained area. And of course, breastfeeding in nursing rooms, another great thing at airports, whether it's something like Minute Suites where you can get 30 minutes free there, or if it's an actual room that they provide. Just always have it in your back pocket, because hey, it's really nice if you do. Tip number 2, maybe this seems like a no-brainer, but I definitely did not prepare for my first flight with a kid enough this way. Bring lots of snacks, and I'm talking loads of snacks. My kids love pouches, so I just pile on the pouches. They like anything that's like a little mini cookie or a mini cracker. So like cheese crackers, little mini Oreo cookies, pile those into a bag. And now that James has to actually have a ticket because, he's over 2, he gets his own carry-on. That's the snack bag, and that's a toy bag for kids. Because that's the other part of this tip. Lots of toys, variety of toys, and even maybe new toys that they haven't seen, or newer toys, or toys they haven't played with before. I'm not saying go buy a bunch of new toys for your trip, But if there's some cars or, you know, some coloring pads that maybe they haven't touched in a while, put those in the bag. Make it seem like it's new to them, because that's going to keep their attention a lot longer. I myself got some little new mini monster trucks for them, since they're all into monster trucks, and some of those magic coloring pens, because they really like those. The other thing that kind of goes along with this tip is I let my kids have screen time. I know what they like to watch, so I'm downloading Batman, I'm downloading some monster truck stuff. They're really into the Blippy monster truck songs, so I'm going to download that on my phone. So I have that in my back pocket if we really, really, really need it. Oh, my kids love books. So I have a couple books that I know I will definitely bring, smaller board books that will travel well, and I can put in either the diaper bag or in James's carry-on bag. Tip number 3, huge. This has been huge for us every time we've flown. We have brought a stroller and we brought our own car seats. Not only do you save money because you bring your own car seats, you don't have to rent them from the rental place, or if someone's picking you up, you already have it there. You don't have to worry about them putting it in the car. You can do it right when they pick you up. You also get that free. With your luggage that you check, it is free to put that on. I've seen some people, especially when you only travel with one kid and you don't need a double stroller, they have these cool, like, compact, foldable stroller things that are a car seat stroller all in one. I don't know, it looks kind of cool. If I can find some, I'll link them below, but I don't honestly know what they're called. But I've seen people walking around those in airports and they look like they come in handy. But for me, I bring the separate stroller and car seat because I have specific strollers. I like to run when I'm out of town, so I bring my jogging stroller that I specifically have for out of town jogging. And it's also good for when we go to the zoos, parks. It's just nice to have a stroller. So this time around, neither of the kids have really been using a stroller that much, but I think I'm still going to bring the double stroller just as a backup. It's nice to have it in the airport. You can put all your stuff in it and just walk around the airport with it. And it kind of blocks people out. So, I mean, it's kind of like a double purpose. You get to walk through these big crowds and the stroller makes them push away. So I like it for a couple of reasons. Another tip that kind of goes along with the whole car seat stroller, rent your car online ahead of time if you're going to be renting a car. Do not wait in those lines. A lot of times with rental places, like we usually use Enterprise, there'll be a separate line for people who rent it ahead of time, or it's just quicker because all you got to do is give your credit card information. I think they can verify your driver's license and you basically are good to go, which especially in airports like LAX, which is where we fly into quite a bit, it's just super long lines depending on what time of day you're landing. So just make sure that you keep that in mind. Tip number 4, if you have a layover, which I know if you're flying out of any small airports, which sometimes with kids it's easier to fly out of a small airport and into a small airport. We've done it a couple of times. We've also done big airports to big airports, so you don't have a layover. There's pros and cons to both, but make sure that you pick a good restaurant for them to eat at during your layover. Whether it's not even a lunchtime, dinner time, just sit down at a restaurant and feed them a snack, because honestly, kids that are well fed are just much more well behaved at the airport, I've found. And it's a nice time for you to get a break because you can put them into a booster seat or a high chair and just relax. And you yourself get to drink something, you know, whether it's an alcoholic beverage or just a normal beverage, you get a chance to like refresh, reset. And then while you're in that terminal during the layover, if you don't have a private space to go to or anything like that, you know, that's cool. Just find a corner of the terminal, maybe where your gate is or somewhere around your gate. Just let them run circles. We've done that so many times at airports where we found a more quiet hallway. Just have them run back and forth. Not every airport has that quiet hallway, but many of them do. So try to find a little sweet spot. Tip number 5, we're so close to that juicy tip number 6. I can almost taste it, but hey, we're not quite there yet. Tip number 5, and this is probably the one that I have the worst time with because I am not a calm person. I tried to be as calm as possible, but when I am in a stressful situation where I myself am already stressed out and then the kids are stressing me out a little bit, it's not good. Stay calm though. If you overreact, the kids are just going to feed on that and they're just going to act worse. So as calm as you can stay, whether it's your kid crying his eyes out on the airplane, maybe in the layover he keeps running away from you, just stay as calm as possible and try to reset the situation whenever you need to. So, you know, if it is crying on the airplane, after he cries for a minute or two, you know, try out the new toys, try out some different stimulus, so that, you know, they can direct the attention away from whatever is upsetting them. If that doesn't work, take them back to the bathroom. Just kind of like reset the scene. A lot of times too, and this is not the case in every airplane ride we've ever had, people around you are very understanding. And I'm saying this is like 8 times out of 10 because I know there can be bad days for people where they just aren't taking kids. I get it. I mean, I myself, I have bad days where I don't want to be hanging out with my kids. Everyone has those days. But a lot of times the stewardess understand, and they will try to help you out as much as possible. So, you know, bring the kids back to the bathroom. Sometimes the stewardess will even help you like run them back and forth if there's not turbulence. They'll let them kind of roam the walkway a little bit, and they'll make sure that, hey, they're keeping them entertained there. But a lot of people are on your side and they want you to have a good flight. So don't stress out about that. And you know what? If you've ruined one or two people's day, it's going to happen every once in a while. They'll get over it. They're adults. Okay, my best tip, and this tip saved us on so many of our flights. We flew 4 or 5 times with the kids last year, and we did red-eye flights for almost all of those. Big tip here. If you can do a red-eye, if you yourself can take it, and your kids sleep well through the night, which at that point our kids were sleeping well through the night, do it. We did that from O'Hare to LAX 3 times last year, and it was just golden. Oh my God, loved it so much, because we would get on the plane around 8 o'clock. It was a nonstop 4.5 hour flight. So you had 4.5 hours to sleep, and it was around 7:38 that you'd actually board. So the kids were getting ready for nap time. You'd feed them a bottle, maybe a snack, either put on something on your phone or read them a book, and they'd just fall right asleep. It worked out so well. I mean, we aren't doing it this time around because they're a little older. I think they can handle the layovers. But when you have young kids, I would say 2 and under, that is honestly so good. Or if you have kids that sleep really well. Our kids don't sleep as well when they're not in their environment of their house anymore. But if you have kids that can sleep anywhere, my goodness, do it, because those red eyes are awesome. Did we have a little recovery, Eric and I, the next day? Yes. But it's a good trade-off. You have one day where you're a little tired, maybe you go to bed early that night. So if you have, usually we do 2-week trips minimum. It's not that bad. It definitely is reasonable where we can make it work out. And if you have to sleep for a few extra hours the next day, usually the kids are also tired, so they'll sleep with you, and it works out well. I just have to say it was the biggest game changer for all travel that I have ever had. Red-eye flights, I'm all for them. And when we have this next baby, definitely gonna do some red-eyes, because it just makes things a lot easier. Well, I hope you enjoyed those tips for traveling with kids. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more, and I hope you have good flights with your kids this holiday. Nothing is worse than a bad flight where you're very stressed out. So try to take some of these tips, whatever ones you can, and make things a little easier for yourself. But yeah, until the next video, see you in the next one. Bye.